Hey everyone, this is a short podcast for quick revision for NEET. Today we are covering human reproduction. Let's first talk about the male reproductive system. The male reproductive system consists of a pair of testes, accessory ducts, accessory glands, and external genitalia. The testes are located outside the abdominal cavity in a pouch called the scrotum. This positioning is very important because it maintains the temperature of the testes about 2 to 2.5 degrees Celsius lower than the normal body temperature, which is essential for sperm formation. Each testis is divided into 250 compartments called testicular lobules, and each lobule contains 1 to 3 highly coiled seminiferous tubules. These seminiferous tubules are the actual site of sperm production. Inside these tubules, there are different types of cells. The spermatogonia are the male germ cells that ultimately give rise to sperms. Then there are Sertoli cells, which provide nourishment to the developing sperms and are often referred to as nurse cells. Outside the seminiferous tubules, there are interstitial cells or Leydig cells, which are responsible for production of the male hormone testosterone. Now let's understand how the sperms travel. The seminiferous tubules open into the retitestes, which then leads to vasa efferentia. These ducts carry sperms into the epididymis, where they are stored and gain motility. From there, sperms move into the vas deferens, which eventually joins the duct of seminal vesicle to form the ejaculatory duct that opens into the urethra. Along the way, accessory glands add secretions to the sperms. The seminal vesicles contribute fructose-rich fluid that provides energy. The prostate gland adds a secretion that activates sperms, and the bulbourethral glands provide lubrication. The combination of sperms and these glandular secretions is called semen. Now let's shift to the female reproductive system. The female reproductive system includes a pair of ovaries, a pair of oviducts or fallopian tubes, the uterus, cervix, vagina, and external genitalia. The ovaries are responsible for producing female gametes, which are ova, and also secrete hormones like estrogen and progesterone. Each ovary is connected to a fallopian tube. The fallopian tube has three parts: the infundibulum, which is the funnel-shaped part with finger-like projections called fimbriae, the ampulla, which is the wider region, and the isthmus, which is narrower and connects to uterus. One of the most important facts here is that fertilization typically occurs at the junction of the ampulla and isthmus. The uterus is a single, pear-shaped muscular organ where the embryo implants and develops. Its inner lining is called the endometrium, which undergoes cyclic changes during the menstrual cycle. The muscular layer, called the myometrium, plays a role during childbirth by producing contractions. Now let's move to one of the most important topics, gametogenesis. Gametogenesis refers to the formation of gametes. In males, it is called spermatogenesis, and in females, it is called oogenesis. Spermatogenesis begins at puberty and continues throughout life. It starts with spermatogonia, which undergo mitotic divisions to increase in number. Some of these cells grow to become primary spermatocytes, which undergo meiosis I to form secondary spermatocytes. These then undergo meiosis II to produce spermatids. Finally, spermatids transform into mature sperms in a process called spermiogenesis. It is important to note the difference between spermiogenesis and spermiation. Spermiogenesis is the transformation of spermatids into sperms, whereas spermiation is the release of sperms from the seminiferous tubules into the lumen. The entire process is controlled hormonally. The hypothalamus secretes GnRH, which stimulates the pituitary gland to release FSH and LH. LH acts on Leydig cells to produce testosterone, while FSH acts on Sertoli cells to support spermatogenesis. Now coming to oogenesis. Oogenesis begins during the fetal stage, which makes it very different from spermatogenesis. The oogonia multiply and enter meiosis to form primary oocytes, but these get arrested in prophase I until puberty. After puberty, during each menstrual cycle, one primary oocyte completes meiosis I to form a secondary oocyte and a polar body. The secondary oocyte begins meiosis II but gets arrested at metaphase II. This is the stage at which it is ovulated. This is extremely important. The cell that is released during ovulation is a secondary oocyte, not a fully formed ovum. The ovum is formed only after fertilization is completed. Now let's understand the menstrual cycle. The menstrual cycle is a series of cyclic changes that occur in a female reproductive system with an average duration of 28 days. The cycle starts with the menstrual phase, which lasts for about 3 to 5 days, during which the endometrial lining sheds. Next is the follicular phase, during which follicles in the ovary develop and estrogen levels increase. This phase prepares the uterus for possible pregnancy. Around the 14th day, ovulation occurs. This is triggered by a sudden surge in LH levels known as the LH surge. This is one of the most commonly asked concepts in NEET. After ovulation, the luteal phase begins. The ruptured follicle transforms into a structure called the corpus luteum, which separates progesterone. Progesterone is responsible for maintaining the endometrial lining and preparing it for implantation. If fertilization does not occur, the corpus luteum degenerates, progesterone level fall, and the endometrium sheds, leading to menstruation. Now let's move to fertilization and early development. Fertilization occurs when a sperm fuses with a secondary oocyte, typically in the ampullary isthmic junction of the fallopian tube. The sperm releases enzymes from its acrosome to penetrate the ovum, a process known as the acrosome reaction. After fusion, a zygote is formed, which undergoes rapid mitotic divisions called cleavage. These divisions lead to the formation of a solid ball of cells called morula, which later develops into blastocyst. The blastocyst has two main parts, the outer trophoblast and the inner cell mass. The trophoblast helps in implantation and later forms a part of the placenta, while the inner cell mass develops into the embryo. Implantation occurs around 6 to 7 days after fertilization when the blastocyst embeds itself into the endometrial lining of the uterus. Now let's talk about pregnancy and placenta. Pregnancy or gestation lasts about 9 months in humans. During this period, the placenta develops as a temporary organ that connects the developing fetus to the mother. The placenta facilitates the exchange of nutrients, gases, and waste products between the mother and the fetus. It also acts as an endocrine organ and secretes hormones such as human chorionic gonadotropin or HCG, which is responsible for maintaining the corpus luteum during early pregnancy. Other hormones like human placental lactogen and progesterone are also secreted to support pregnancy. Finally, let's discuss parturition and lactation. Parturition or childbirth is initiated by a complex hormonal mechanism involving signals from the fetus and the mother. The hormone oxytocin plays a key role by stimulating uterine contraction in a positive feedback manner. After childbirth, lactation begins. The hormone prolactin stimulates the production of milk, while oxytocin helps in the ejection of milk from the mammary glands. Before we end, let's quickly revise some high yield points. The testes are located outside the body to maintain lower temperature. Sertoli cells provide nourishment and Leydig cells provide testosterone. Fertilization occurs at the ampullary isthmic junction. The secondary oocyte is what gets ovulated. LH surge triggers ovulation. Progesterone maintains pregnancy. HCG maintains the corpus luteum, and the trophoblast forms the placenta. That's it for today. Stay consistent with your preparation, and I'll see you in the next podcast.